we actually had to deal with that recently. In about a week, we're going to take the junkyard cars back to Alaska to throw them off the cliff again for the 4th of July, which is
nice,
an absolutely awesome thing we do each year.
What's the drop off that cliff?
It's about 400 feet, 350, 400 feet. I mean, it's enough. Like it's
a real drop.
Yeah. We're not just throwing them off the back of your grandmother's carport. It's about 40 stories down there. When you see it online, it's kind of a forced perspective. If somebody's at the bottom looking at it, it looks very compressed, but there's a good couple hundred yards from the base of that cliff.
Anybody ever base jump off that thing?
I don't think so. I mean,
I want to be on top of the car. I want to be on the car that races over the edge and then jump like it's Grand Theft Auto or something and pull my chute.
Oh, that'd be cool.
That would be pretty rad. I mean, we got enough hang time on the truck the last time that you could have done that easily. There's about maybe a 80 or 100 foot vertical drop, and then you kind of hit like this debris field, all the stuff that's crumbled off over the years, and then it levels out. Oh yeah, man, it is so wild. So that car, I missed it last year. I was up in Prudhoe Bay, Alaska, doing a different thing in Alaska last year. But some buddies of ours took this Jurassic Park Explorer, and you can see like it's landing the level of the river down there. So like it's a drop. Yeah, it is. It is one of the most rock star things. Yeah, so that car is going to hit at the same level as those people in that water you see down there.
Jesus.
Yeah,
That's
awesome.
Is
violent.
That's fun.
Yeah, it's so awesome. So Jay Roberts, who
the crowd.
has So
any drug use down there?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Any drug use down there, or they keep it clean?
I have never seen anything.
That looks like a party crowd. I'm joking. It looks like somebody's passing around a fucking balloon of nitrous.
No, they're just
I've never seen any drug use, or at least you can't prove I have.
Yeah, everything I have seen up there has been straight up. So that whale came off the top of that car, and we were like taking numbers if somebody else would hit the whale, and sure enough, they did. It is hilarious. So Jay Roberts is a friend of mine. He's one of the cannonballers, and we're over here, this side. I'm backwards there. So Jay has the nonstop record and the self-drive record in a Prius. As Ed Bolian said, he's like the Valentino Balboni of the Prius. Like he has done multiple runs in this Prius, big fuel tank. He's got an off-road Prius. Like Jay's just a cool dude. He had this old junker Prius, and he was going to take it up there with us this year and yeet it off the cliff with these other cars we're taking. But because of that battery pack, it just wasn't safe, because if that battery pack were to rupture upon impact, there's just not a way handy to put it out down there. So they had to pull the plug on launching the Prius because of that lithium battery pack.
Yeah.
But it's going to be
safe for the crowd. It wouldn't be safe for the crowd. It wouldn't be safe for the crowd, but I'd like to see the cars explode midair. There's this famous video from the Mideast where a car drives over an anti-tank mine, and it launches the car way up in the air, and it's tumbling as it goes. And there's a little bit of a smoke trail as it goes. And it turns out it was a suicide bomber. And as it reaches its apex, and I mean like a movie director said, and now it explodes. And you get this double boom at the apex of the car just going into a million pieces. And it's so cool.
I saw that video too. That was like almost like one of those like Roadrunner cartoon level of like timing. Like it was the same thing. You just go along, and that was some violence. I mean, Arnie, the guy that runs the cliff launch thing up there, he's super safety conscious. When you see the videos, the way the lens kind of compresses things, it looks like people are right up on it. It's a couple of 100 yards. I mean, you couldn't. I don't know. I mean, if you launched a McLaren or a Hellcat or something off of there, you might hit the crowd. But the gravel surface up top is so loose, you couldn't put enough traction down to really get that kind of speed. But he's always been very safety conscious. Like there's no power, because we were going to hey, we're going to throw some tannerite in there. We were going to all these bad ideas. And they were like, no explosives. There is just enough gas in that car to get it off of the hill. All the other fluids are drained. All, the glass has been removed. Anything loose, spotlights, any other part that could fly off. Also, like I had this idea of wouldn't it be fun to send off an RV and have a bunch of mannequins in there, they're all cooking breakfast and sitting on the toilet. And he's like, no, like nothing that a kid might see and mistake for a person getting hurt.
Sucks.
Well, no, they're cool. I mean, they've got an awesome thing going on.
Well, you have to say that, but I will let you know.
Yeah. Your idea was great, and it's a shame they shut it down.
Well, it is such a fun event, and it is the Glacier View, Alaska is about an hour from Palmer, which is probably about the only real city out there in central Alaska. And they got a good thing going on, and I totally understand them not want to mess it up. But, you know, it's a family-friendly thing, and they keep it clean, and rightfully so. It's a fun event. You know, I was heartbroken I missed it last year, and if I had not been doing something else equally cool, I would have found a way. But we're heading out again this week, end of next week, actually. I partnered up with these guys, RMJ Tactical. I picked them up as a sponsor, and I used one of their Tomahawks on the last trip to do some sketchy stuff. So they hooked us up to get up there again. We have an ambulance and a minibus and a minivan and a Chevy Cavalier are what we are launching this year.
Has anybody ever like armored up a car, like a mini contest to see like who's can survive the best?
So Finnegan and Freiberger from Roadkill tried that a few years ago. It didn't work. I was talking with Hot Wheels a couple of weeks ago, and I was hitting them up to see if they were into sponsoring something. You know, Mattel is a super cool company, but that doesn't really fit their brand. You know, their thing is all about like building tough, indestructible toys, not things that get destroyed. And I could see that. But that kind of got my idea spinning, though, of like, yeah, what if we could build a car that would survive the drop? Because there's about 100-foot drop, but you land on this kind of a 45-degree slope of like gravel and kind of sand and stuff like that, which absorbs a lot of energy. In 2022, there was a Dodge Dakota that you probably could have driven out of there if our F-150 hadn't landed on it like a lawn dart. But like it just kind of hit and kind of gentle roll, and it was beat up. I think if you chained the axles where like you didn't get like a hyper extension and rip the axles out of it, if you chain the axles to the frame and roll cage the crap out of it, I bet you could drive something out of there. I mean, it just depends. If you land on the slope and tumble, yeah. If you make it all the way to the flat, no. I mean, you're hitting, 40-story vertical drop onto a rock face. I mean, it's just going to rip the engine internals out and shatter everything. But
I'm surprised Hot Wheels didn't want to get on board because especially if you had a loop at the top of the hill where you could get something like that going. But the way to do that is 2 cars. You're going to destroy it. You do it like it's the Blues Brothers. You're going to need or the Dukes of Hazzard. You're going to need
the hero car and the sacrificial one. Yeah. With 20,000 people watching, it's all very like, sitting around Waffle House coming up with crazy ideas. It seems very technical, but when you're there, it's very like gladiatorial. Like, it's just they're blasting rock and roll music through the PA system. There's 20,000 people screaming their heads off. We're all up at the top. We have just sojourned these crap box cars for thousands of miles, fixing them with parts on the side of the road and bumming stuff off of people and just getting them there and like almost not making it and all the trials and tribulations. When we sent the truck off, I think we launched a Dodge Charger police car, a Jaguar, and F-150 that year. Like, we put an Iron Maiden CD in the truck, cranked it, pulled the knob off, just sent it to Valhalla. And like in situation, it's just this very like emotional, like smashing a guitar kind of thing. And all the technical stuff just goes out the window. You just want to see your car fly. You want to watch it get destroyed. You hope it's going to make the lake. You want it to fly cool. Like it's just such a visceral experience. When the Jag went off, that was I may have told this story the last time I was on here, but like the Jag went off just the coolest way. We tried to make the truck and the Jag hit in midair, which of course didn't happen. Truck gets this beautiful arch, just lands and comes apart like the Challenger when it hits. The Jaguar, we've been having all kind of like fuel pump issues, and Matt, our mechanic, was just awesome keeping that thing going. And so the Jag goes off. At that point, they pretty much just attached like a little pint jar of gas to the top of the engine, just enough to get it off. And it had a small block Chevy in it. We'd cut the exhaust manifolds like off at the engine, basically. So it's just raw dogging it right in. Car goes off, V8's just screaming wide open. It just floats through the air. As the car noses down, it just like breaks in half, and the engine just rips apart from the transmission with its own fuel supply still attached.
Oh, sick.
It just like rips open. It's like in Indiana Jones when the guy like shows his heart to him, the heart of the car just breaks in half. The engine goes flying. It's still got its own fuel supply. So there's like flames shooting out, just valves floating. It is screaming right at the point of red line. It is about to explode. It hits in the edge of the lake. Like the water just shatters it. fire and noise, and the car still tumbling down the mountain. 20,000 people are like screaming in slow motion. There's like heavy metal music blasting. We're all at the top, just devil horns and hugging each other and laughing and crying. And like that was the last car. And like right after it hit, everybody just rushed the field, and all the spans down there just tearing parts of the car off. And like it's just such a like America rock and roll kind of experience that all the jokes and funny things that would have been cool just goes out the window, and you just are just hugging your friends and just jumping up and down. And it's awesome. It is a fun event. If you ever get a chance to participate, please go do it. It is so fun. And it's not hard to do. Just get some car that you can afford to throw off a cliff, which for us is about a $500 to $700 car. And if you go in with like 4 dudes, you're in it for about $150 a piece.
Yeah.
Just send it, man.
The engine
it's
by
awesome.
itself is hilarious. I saw a motorcycle the other day that had a small block Chevrolet, and it's like, how much? The guy asked me, he's like, how much horsepower are you putting in that thing? 1,100. He's just straddling a 427.
4 square inches of contact patch on the rear tire. What's he?
It was a twin turbo 427 or some shit, and he's riding that bitch down the highway. Like,
there's a company. That company's called Boss Hoss. Yeah, I rode one of those years ago. It's made by a company called Boss Hoss, and you know the engines are. I mean, they make a lot of power, but like you said, you can't put that much power down to the tire. What's scariest about them to me is that there's no transmission. Like there's not enough room. So they pretty much just have a clutch, and you just disengage. Like there's no neutral. It's like when you roll up to a red light, like you just have to pull the clutch in and disengage the engine from the drivetrain and hope that clutch holds. Because if it doesn't, you're just going to get heated. Like there's no way to stop it.
There'd be enough room for like a CVT. Like that's what it should have. It's just like a, it's got that thing that expands and contracts instead of a gearbox.
Yeah, that would work. That would work. But just packaging at that point, just squeezing it in there. But those things.
Jay Leno's got that crazy one that's got the V10 out of the Dodge, right? Like the Viper engine.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That thing's called the Tomahawk. Yeah, that's a cool.
Can we see a picture of Jay Leno's Tomahawk, Zach?
Yeah, it's fucking sick. I remember.
Yeah, and it's actually 4 wheels, but they're all tucked together. And he is a cool dude. He was on the Hot Wheels show with us.
It's a bike.
And I ran into him at SEMA too. Like, just like absolutely down to earth guy.
It's like that. Like the way
Jay Leno was like, did you get to drive any of his fancy cars?
Oh, no. He drove one of ours, but no, he was like our like celebrity judge. Oh, yeah, that thing is that is one of the coolest looking motorcycles.
Isn't that the Batman motorcycle from the Christian Bale movies? Like
it's similar.
Chrome.
Similar concept. Yeah, that sort of hub center steering thing.
Yeah, this looks easier to drive than a normal motorcycle.
Yeah. The Christian Bale one is in the vault at the Peterson Museum in LA.
Yeah, I like the new one better. The Robert Pattinson Batman had like a Honda 750 Cafe Racer.
The old school.
That was a cooler bike.
Yeah, I thought the Batmobile from that movie, I think, was one of the cooler Batmobiles too. It was just like a trophy truck. It just seemed. I liked that movie a lot. Like a lot of people hated on it, and I think
loved
people were like, saw
That's cool.
Robert Pattinson, the Harry Potter kid. And they're like,
no, he's not Harry Potter. He's the Twilight kid.
Okay, I never saw that, but
he was in Harry Potter too. You're right.
Yeah,
He was Cedric Diggory.
Yeah.